Welcome back to part 2 of Next on the Tee. We're not done yet. Coming up, more stories, more insight, and more reasons to love this game. Let's dive right back in. Part 2 starts now, right here on Next on the Tee, where golf legends live and your game gets better.
Hey, Next on the Tee Nation, thank you so much for coming back and pressing play on part 2 of episode number 52 in season number 12, featuring my conversations with the wonderful Scott Hamilton and the great Terry Hashimoto. As you guys know, and this is the 4th time that I've been privileged to spend some time with Scott Hamilton, if there was an award for greatest human being on the planet, Scott would have won it for probably the 30th or 40th straight year. There's nobody better than Scott Hamilton, a guy who overcame a lot in his life to win, obviously, that 1984 gold medal in men's figure skating, has gone on to do a great deal of wonderful work for people dealing with cancer. Just like Scott has dealt with cancer, his mom passed away due to her complications with cancer. ScottCares.org, folks, go out and check it out. A wonderful organization that Scott has put together that is doing, like I say, great things for people dealing with cancer. We'll talk about a wonderful event that Scott, at the time that we were recording this, Scott had a fantastic event coming up. It is something that he does annually, putting out a wonderful event there in Nashville, Tennessee, to support his cause. So you'll hear all about the fantastic event that they lined up, and then you're going to also hear about the great work that they continue to do, again, with people dealing with cancer. We'll also talk about the Winter Olympics coming up in February. Scott's going to be back on the mic. He will be on there for the 10th time in a row. That ties the great Dick Buttons for the most in Winter Olympic history. So we'll talk about all of those wonderful things when Scott joins me here in just a moment. Following him is a guy who is a technology genius in and around our game, a guy who's also in the Manitoba Golf Hall of Fame. That is Terry Hashimoto. Terry is the founder of AI Sensor and ProScreen AI, so you can hear a lot about that. 3D model physical screening that goes on that can help us all with our golf swings. Now, Terry was the co-founder and developer of Swing Balance and Body Track. So, look, a guy that earned his way into the Manitoba Golf Hall of Fame, a guy who had a wonderful college golf career at the University of Miami, and then turned that into doing so much great work from a scientific and from a technology standpoint to benefit each and every one of us. So Terry will go through and detail all the wonderful things that he is doing, incorporating AI into our golf swings and how it can make us all better and improve our game. So, folks, Scott Hamilton, Terry Hashimoto, two of the very finest individuals and the best in and around sports, let alone our game. So sit back, relax, let us take your mind off everything else going on in your life for the next hour or so. All right, but before we continue and get into the rest of the show, I want to start off by giving a shout out to my great friends over at the Pittsburgh Tribune Review. TribLive.com is the leading news website for Western Pennsylvania with news around the clock. Pittsburgh pro sports coverage, a high school sports network, a podcast network, which you can find Next on the Tee on. So go out and bookmark TribLive.com or download the Trib Live app for free and stay up to date with all the news in Western Pennsylvania and this show. I also want to talk about our friends over at the Pittsburgh Brewing Company and Iron City Beer, a brand that I have loved my whole life and started drinking when I was 21 years old, of course. Whether you're a hacker or a scratcher, the secret to a successful day on the links is knowing when it's time to grab an iron, even if that means keeping it in the bag till the 19th hole. If it's been a while since you've reached for Pittsburgh staple beer, it's time to revisit Iron City. Thanks to their incredible new facility in Creighton, the best-tasting Iron City beer ever made is now available at a course near you. Iron City pairs well with any lie and sky and serves as a friendly reminder that there's always next round. And because it's never too early for chocolate, their double chocolate Bock is back for the season, and it's the perfect companion for a cozy winter evening. Check out all of their wonderful beers and their gift shop online by going to pittsburghbrewing.com. And this year, get ready to experience a game like never before at the Keep, the brand new Bill Bergen and Reese Jones co-designed course at Macklemore. Nestled high atop Lookout Mountain, the Keep offers breathtaking vistas that are made even more spectacular as the autumn colors paint the landscape in rich hues of red, orange, and gold. With its challenging layout and awe-inspiring views, Every round here is an unforgettable adventure. Whether you're taking on the signature holes or just soaking in the scenery, the Keep is where your best golf meets nature's finest backdrop. So grab your clubs and join us up at Macklemore. The Keep is open and it's waiting for you. All right, now back and next on the tee with me is a wonderful guy that I've really enjoyed getting to know over the last few years, and that's Olympic gold medal figure skater Scott Hamilton. Scott has overcome a lot of hurdles in his life. He's battled brain cancer since birth. He pushed forward through a lot of things he and his family couldn't understand about his physical health to eventually go on to win that gold medal in 1984. We get to enjoy him again on the mic in February at the Winter Olympic Games in Italy. He'll be joining the broadcast team for NBC. Scott makes everything he's a part of infinitely better because of his knowledge, enthusiasm, and communication style. And it is always a privilege to get to spend some time with him. And I couldn't be more honored that I get to do it again this week here on Next on the Tee. Hey, Scott, how are you, my friend?
Hey, good. Hey, can I go get my wife and you read that over again? Because I think she'd love to hear it.
Hey, it's part of the intro. It's going to be a part of the show. You can play it. You can make a ringtone out of it. You can loop it, whatever you want to do, my friend.
Perfect. Thank you. That was really generous. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Before we get into from there.
Before we get into all the sports talk stuff, you've got a big event coming up on the 23rd. Scott Hamilton and friends.
Yeah,
tell everybody about it.
This is our biggest one ever. We do a yearly event for my foundation. My foundation is called the Scott Hamilton Cares Foundation. We fund cancer research, but we only fund sort of the next generation of cancer treatment options, which is immunotherapy, our body's own ability to recognize and destroy the cancer, and targeted therapies, meaning it just targets the cancer and leaves the rest of the body alone. We really feel that, and it's been proven over the last few years that that our bodies create the cancer or allow it to exist. It's something our bodies just do. And so our bodies should be able to detect or destroy it. I mean, our bodies want to live, they don't want to die. So we have been working very hard. We've had over 111 research programs that we've been a part of over the last 11 years. And before that, the 15 years before that was extraordinary with the Cleveland Clinic and doing a lot of wonderful things there. If you want to talk about that, we can get into a deeper dive. But every year, the Sunday before Thanksgiving, we put on a gigantic show at Bridgestone Arena, Nashville. And honestly, and it ain't bragging if it's true, right? That's a Muhammad Ali sign or slogan saying, we're the only people in the world that can do this show. And it's only once and it's not televised. So people have to come see it. It's live music from iconic musical artists performing their biggest hits while Olympic and world champion skaters perform to those songs right in front of the audience, in front of it's an extraordinary sensory overload experience. And it's funny that I try to describe it and it's spectacular. I mean, it's really spectacular. And I'll have people, they'll come to the show for the first time and I'll tell them exactly what it is, just like I just mentioned to you. And they come up and they go, "Why didn't you tell me?" It's like, why? I did. It's just like, but I see, these kind of, I've witnessed grizzled entertainment executives become 5 years old again. And it's a lot of people think they've seen skating if they've watched it on television. And that's not, no, you got to see it right in front of you 3-dimensionally with your own eyes. And we turn Bridgestone Arena into a theater. We take the glass out. We put the seats all the way to the ice. We create a very intimate environment, and that is sort of the lure to bring everybody in so that we can raise a lot of money for cancer research. I've been a volunteer since day one. I will never take a penny for anything I do in the cancer space or with CARES. I just won't. I don't want to take a penny away from the mission. So I'm a volunteer, which also means I can't get fired. And it's extraordinary, the impact we made, and we're very collaborative. We're not a silo, and we've been able to partner with some of the greatest institutions cancer research institutions in America, and it's been really remarkable to see how far it's come. So our signature event, 4 p.m. Sunday, November 23rd, Bridgestone Arena. And if you really want to have a good time, log on to scottcares.org and navigate over to our event page. And if you sponsor, let's say you buy a ticket to the dinner after the show, you get preferred seating at the ice show. It's all included into your dinner ticket. You get a spectacular evening out. We have Matt Rogers, the voice of the Tennessee Titans, as our host again this year. And it's extraordinary. I have Nathan Chen, Olympic champion, coming back. Katya Gordieva, two-time Olympic champion, coming back. Gracie Gold, Mariah Bell, Elijah Balde. I mean, we have all these superstar skaters coming back, and the artists, the musical artists. You know, I should not ignore them because they're gigantic rock stars in their own right. We're doing a classic rock show this year. We theme it every year, it seems, and this year we have Kevin Cronin of REO Speedwagon, Jason Sheff of Chicago. Formerly of. These guys were the impact players in these bands. And we have John Elefante of Kansas, formerly of Kansas, Wally Palmer of the Romantics, Jason Derlatka of Journey, and Mike Reno of Loverboy coming in to sing their biggest songs. And it's a great set. I mean, it rocks and it's beautiful, and it rocks and it's beautiful. And as always, we feature right in the middle of the show our Skate to Eliminate skate champions, which are a lot of the young skaters. We set up a peer-to-peer fundraising mechanism called Skate to Eliminate Cancer, and it's peer-to-peer. And a lot of our skaters have gotten very entrepreneurial in the way they raise money, because the top 30 fundraisers get to be in this big number in the middle of the show, and it's always one of the greatest hits in the show. It's just amazing. And so they raise a lot of money too, which is really great. So it's a phenomenal evening from beginning to end. And it is, again, we're the only people in the world that can do it. And this is our 9th one in Nashville, our 30th one overall. And we've been able to take skating and music and turn it into a fundraising mechanism that we know will ultimately change the world for the better and forever.
It's awesome. Again, scottcares.org, right, is where they can go to get their tickets? Yeah,
scottcares.org. And if they want tickets, they can go to Ticketmaster or the Bridgestone Arena box office and get tickets. The tickets are really inexpensive. My young son always tells me, Dad, if you charge 5 times more, you'll get more people to come. It's like, I don't know how that works. But we price it because, we price it so that more people can come. We price it so, if people want a great night out. And, live music shows are getting really expensive now, to the point where I look at it and I go, I think I'll just listen to it in the car. But it's like, we're really super inexpensive. And our goal is to fill the arena and not only fill it just for the fundraising mechanism, but fill it so that all the cancer patients and survivors and their families in the audience know that people genuinely care about them. So we do a big event, and we really need to get the word out, and people need to just come, because it's beyond spectacular. That's all I can tell you.
All right. So like I mentioned in your intro, the other thing that excites me about what you're about to do is you're going to be a part of the broadcast team again for the Winter Olympics in February over in Italy. This is going to mark your 10th Olympics to be on the microphone, which ties Dick Button for the most ever.
I'm the least likely guy to ever do one Olympics, and now I'm tying Dick Button in figure skating for the most ever. And I've got a different role this time, which is really unique and exciting. I won't have a headset on in the arena calling the programs. I'll be in the studio with Mike Tirico and doing, maybe a deeper dive, or maybe explaining things that maybe happen post-event, or, that just need broader explanation or whatever. And Dick Button had this same role in 2010. And I remember going into the International Broadcast Center, into the NBC studios, and seeing Dick in his Olympic sweater just waiting to go on. And it's just like, now it's me, it's, you never know whether you're ever going to be invited back. So this one's going to be truly special. My youngest son is coming with me, and he'll be there the whole time. And I'll turn him into some sort of assistant, of getting me all the information I need, and holding me accountable. Dad, I didn't understand what you're talking about. Okay, so I'll take the critique. But yeah, it's an exciting time. I've done the last two Olympics sort of as a pre-game, post-game kind of thing, mostly pre-game. Really talking about what happened last night and what's going to happen today. And the Pyeongchang was probably the hardest I've ever had to work for an Olympics, just because the nature of, we have a lot of information to get out in a very concise manner, and I want to make sure I get to the right point at the right time, and really represent these athletes in a really cool and intimate way, because it's hard now that they don't do a lot of the profiles anymore for people at home to kind of be invested, and to really get to know the athlete. And as much as, any sports broadcasting is storytelling, it's hard to get it all in when you've got 4 minutes that's just slammed full of all these incredible elements. And the quality is just, now more than ever before, skaters are doing things that I never thought I'd see in my lifetime. And the American young man, Ilya Malinin, is superstar, man. He's just, he's next level, and he's doing stuff I've never seen before. He's sort of taken this thing on and saying, I'm going to reinvent the sport again. And so the last international competition he competed in, this is just sort of an example of what we're talking about. Nobody really understands, if you're not in the skating world, the scoring system. They just don't. So I'm going to debut it on your show, my way of being able to better understand what these scores mean. You ready for that?
Absolutely, please.
All right. So America's sport is really football. They say it's baseball, but it's really football, right? What's bigger than the Super Bowl, right?
Right.
So let's say a team comes out and beats another team by 10 points. That's pretty convincing, right? That's, it's a 2-possession win. It's pretty strong, right? It's a 10-point victory. So that's kind of like what we try to say is in between these scores. If it's like a 3-point victory, came down to the wire, and one missed element would have changed the results. So Ilya Malinin went to Skate Canada, it was about a week ago, and he won the event as expected, because he's the 2-time world champion, and he won by 74 points.
Wow.
So he won by 10 touchdowns. Let that kind of sink in for a second. I mean, I went to a lot of those early Broncos Super Bowls, and they were painful. I mean, really painful. But now, with just how dominant he's become, I think the world is looking at, all right, we know who's going to win, and he's going to have to come way back to the field. He's going to, he was winning the technical score with 5 elements left in his program. So there's this superiority that this young man has, and he's won the last 2 world championships easily. I think he won last year by over 30 points. Again, 4 touchdowns and a field goal he won by. So, and the United States in the last world championships that were held in Boston, they won 3 out of the 4 disciplines, which the United States has never accomplished that feat before, ever. And so you're coming into an Olympic Games off that World Championships, and you got to think that the United States will definitely be on the podium. Team event. Definitely ladies, definitely men, definitely dance. So it's going to be a great turnout for the Americans at the Olympics, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch because the International Skating Union has changed a lot of the rules to make it more sort of fan friendly. I still think they've got a long way to go, but it's how do you win over the casual fan, and it's in the performances, it's in the relationship. And that's one thing that I've really tried to invest some time into explaining to the skaters. It's like for the last 25 years, there hasn't been pro skating. And I think the sport and the industry really needs to bring balance back to the sport like that. So learn how to grow an audience, learn how to perform directly for people that don't know anything about skating. Just make it spectacular. And you'll be surprised at how many people just keep showing up just to watch these skaters. And it's a unique sport. It's half pure athleticism and half, kind of artistry in its own way. But it all comes down to whoever shows off the best wins. Whoever does the most difficult things gets the highest score. And it's really an exciting time for figure skating in the world. And they just got to really, this Olympics especially, they've got to really just blow people's minds with these performances. And I think skating will start to really grow again.
So let's take what you said a moment ago a step further, Scott. If they are such large prohibitive favorites, with that comes increased pressure, right? Because you essentially have everything to lose and everybody expects you to win. So you don't really have a lot to gain outside of getting to stand on the top of you get on the top of the podium.
There's that.
Yeah. So there's that thing, right? Yeah. But they expect you to be there. So when the expectations are that high, it seems like that's a bigger pressure cooker for the Americans than it is for the others. So they can skate a little freer. And our folks have to deal with all of that pressure. You had to deal with all of that pressure. You were expected to win in '84. How do you deal with that?
Well, I mean, I avoided the press until I was done. That was a strategic move because it's like the one thing I've learned about sports, right, is when you look at, pretty much all of them, I think there are athletes that put a lot of pressure on themselves. And I think a lot of athletes do what they do because they love it and they know they're good at it and they want to get better at it, right? So no matter what the sport is, whether it's golf, whether it's football, whether it's skating, whether it's hockey, no matter what it is, it's really, you're there because you love it. You absolutely, it's part of your identity. And what can disrupt that is when people impose a lot of their opinions, and when people, they just start saying, well, if you don't win, this is what I was told in 1984. If you don't, you're the only lock. You're the only sure thing. If you don't win, it's going to be a humiliation for the United States, right? And it's like,
wow, brutal.
Why would you say that? And so,
right.
Guess what? I'm avoiding you. You are not going to be able to get to me again because, and again, this is sort of this really cool exercise I learned from a figure skating coach. Like when you're getting ready to, like, say you've had it, you're fed up with your sport. You're just done, right? And this coach's name is Corey Aiden. She's really brilliant. And this, my son was going through this with hockey. And you just can't take it anymore. You're just over it. You just don't like it anymore. I want to quit. So she said to my son, she goes, okay, I need you to write down, take a page, put a line down the middle of the page. On one side, put everything you love about hockey. And on the right side, put everything that you don't like about hockey. That makes you want to quit. And it's really a remarkable exercise because everything on the left side of the page was how much he loved to skate and how much he loved his team and how much he loved to compete and how much everything on the right side of the page, everything he didn't like about the sport was, getting harshly criticized or bad refs or parents yelling at him from the stands. It was all external. So the left side of the page, his love for the sport was internal. And what he didn't like about the sport was external. And I think we can all relate to that in our own jobs. It's like, what do I like? I like my job. I love my job. Well, what don't you like about it? Well, and I was doing a talk recently to a group in Milwaukee. And I said, okay, raise your hand if there's a part of your job that you absolutely can't stand. And everybody started looking at each other. And one guy just shot his hand straight up. And it's like, you're brave. You're in the room with all your cohorts and you're saying there's a part of your job that you don't like. And he goes, hey, I get it. I hated doing compulsory figures. I didn't like doing run-throughs in the summer. There's a lot of things about skating I didn't really want to do at certain times. Didn't mean I didn't, but the figures I didn't like at all. And I had to fix that. I had to fix it. So once I fixed it, once I started realizing that figures was sort of my ace in the hole, if I could win figures at the Olympics, I could not lose. I couldn't. The math was too, it's all numbers, it's all scores. The math was, I couldn't lose the Olympics if I won the figures, and I did. So, for a lot of these athletes that are looking at the pressure, most of it is media. Most of it is just, you realize that you have to win, because if you don't, and it's like, why? I've been doing this since I was 9 years old. I think I love what I'm doing. I'm just going to go out and do the best that I can. And the really, the people that have like emotional intelligence will kind of understand, I'm just going to do the best. I'm going to prepare, and I'm going to just trust my training, and I'm going to step on that competitive surface, and I'm just going to give it the best that I've got, hope for the best, hope I don't get unlucky, hope that everything goes as planned, and then I'll take the result, whatever it is.
Yeah. Scott, after you won the gold, and this story floored me. You're riding high, private planes, parade back home. In the midst of all of that, I feel like the governor of Ohio brought you back down to earth.
No, governor of Colorado.
Oh, is it Colorado?
Yeah, Governor Lamb.
He hit you between the eyes with like a 2x4, I felt like, with the story. Called you into the office, told you about the hometown hero syndrome.
Yeah. That was the most generous. Okay, so anytime you go to, anytime something big happens and you get called into, a political office, you think it's a photo op, and I just came back from the Olympics. They had a big parade in Denver. There's all these people in Lerner Square. There was a parade. It was a parade, and it ended with this big ceremony, and the mayor of Denver was there, and the governor's wife was there, and it was my favorite jazz band, we'd go to see, and Denver was there, and it was just a big party, and it was just festive. And when you train in isolation and you compete in the Olympics, isolation goes away, like all at once, and you're relatively unknown. And then you come back to the Olympics and everybody knows your name. Everybody knows you. And it's really wild. So I went to the parade and it was really fun. And then met the governor's wife, and I really liked her because she was a cancer survivor. She survived breast cancer. I think it was breast cancer. My mom didn't. So I was really just honored to meet her. And it was really a great. So he invited me into his office, and I got there and I was wearing my jacket and tie, and he welcomed me in and he shut the door behind us. And I was like, where are the photographers? I really thought it was going to be a political photo op. But he goes, no, I just really want to sit and talk to you. So we sat down and we're talking, and it was really pleasant. And it was really, personal. It wasn't, it was really a nice talk with somebody that had the extraordinary benefit of time and perspective, right? So he just said, look, you seem like a really nice young man. I said, thank you. And he said, have you ever heard of the hometown hero syndrome? I said, no. And he goes, well, basically, it's like if the high school quarterback throws a bomb at the end of the game to win the state championship, everybody carries the quarterback off the field on their shoulders. And he thinks like his whole life is going to be like that. And when it isn't, it crushes him. And I'm listening to this saying, wow, that's brutal. That's really rough. And he goes, look, I want you to enjoy the fruits of your labor. I really want you to enjoy this time of celebration and everything else. But I want you just keep it in the back of your mind that someday there won't be parades and photographers. There won't be people calling you up for interviews. There won't be this thing like you're experiencing right now. It'll go away. And I want you to be prepared for that so it doesn't crush you. And I thanked him. And I always remember that because I thought it was one of the most extraordinary, generous things that anyone's ever done for me, because it really was solid perspective of this is great. It's phenomenal. I'm not going to take a thing away. I just want you to know it's not always going to be like this. And so I got my orthopedic surgeon asked me to speak at the Paralympic banquet. Back then, it wasn't after the Olympics. The Paralympics were held that year in 1984 was in Innsbruck, and they were in January. And so it was, right after that meeting with the governor. So it was a few days after I got back from the Olympics. He said, will you come and speak at the Paralympic banquet? It's in Denver. I said, of course. So I got in my Olympic little uniform. He goes, bring your medal. So I had my medal around my neck, and I walk into this banquet. And I'm seeing all these athletes with the same medal I won, except they didn't have legs or arms, or they were blind, or they had something that was some obstacle that needed to be overcome in a really brave and powerful way. And I remember thinking when I was looking at them saying, I did nothing. I was able-bodied. I have both legs, I have both arms. I'm healthy. These incredible athletes had to overcome. And I was just so offended that I would think that anything I ever did had any value. That it was kind of like a perfect storm. I took my medal after I got home that night. I put it in a brown paper bag, and it lived in the bottom of my underwear drawer for 8 years until I could get rid of it.
Really?
Yeah, because I saw a lot of people get stuck in that moment that the governor warned me about. They get stuck and they feel like, no, it's like I'm important. I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. And they're all identified by this moment in time that they don't want to relinquish being in that moment in time, right? So I didn't understand at the time because it was before I really decided to dedicate my life to my faith in Jesus. And reading, the Bible and everything else, it occurred to me, I'll go back. So 8 years after the Olympics, I qualified to be elected into the World Figure Skating Hall of Fame and the U.S. Figure Skating Hall of Fame. And I was right away. And they called me up and they said, we're having a celebration at the headquarters, which there's a museum. Is there anything that you'd like to have on display at the museum? And I said, everything? And they said, what do you mean? I go, well, you take everything. Like from my silver medal I got in 1968 in my very first sub-juvenile men competition.
Wow.
All the way to my 4th world title. I want you to have everything. And they're like, are you sure? And I said, please take everything. And they took everything. And so it was such a lighter load because I realized in that transaction that I was getting rid of an idol. That I could have thought that,
wow, that
this shiny little object defined me, and it defined everything. I look at it more as a doorstop than anything else, because I got my foot in the door and I could put that medal and I could shove it down the door and it would keep the door open for a little bit, right? So it really was more about creating opportunity. It was really more about stepping into the next. And it was really kind of the Lord to kind of see me through that transition in a really powerful way. He kind of, I think stepped back a little, and he never steps back. I know that's not really fair. He needed to allow me to go through all the stuff that happens when you achieve some level of fame and now you're making money for the first time. It's a bad combination. It really is. So, I had to go through some stuff and I had to figure it out. And, I was a slow learner in school and I was a slow learner in life. And it got to the point where, I thought if I skated 2 to 4 years that, I'm fooling a lot of people, but I learned how to communicate with an audience. I learned how to, really show up on time and be a leader and, grow things and build things. And it was really remarkable that, 13 years later, I'm up to that point, the peak of my skating life, just selling out arenas with Stars on Ice and skating with Christian Yamaguchi and Katarina Witt and Torvald Dean and Gordy Brinkoff and Kurt Browning and Rosalind Sumners and all these superstars of the sport. I'm Paul Wiley. I mean, I'm on the ice with them every single night, and like my old me would want their autographs, but now I'm meant to help them build a career and in something in skating, and it was my life was way out of balance, and I was blessed to be diagnosed with cancer that year. And it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me.
Why?
It allowed me to understand that what I was doing was not organic to me. I was sort of living a life, and I still fall into this occasionally, of people pleasing and allowing other people to kind of pull me off my path a little bit, and I'm still that guy. I'm still trying to build muscle in that. But what I saw was that when my mom died of cancer in 1977, I became a fundraiser. And then 20 years after I lose her now, I'm being diagnosed with cancer. And they tell me, they told her that we're going to try everything we can, but we don't have anything for you. When they diagnosed me, they said, you have an 80 to 90% chance of survival because of research. And so I knew that I was ultimately going to be okay. And so I just realized that my mom didn't have a second chance, but I do. So let's make it count. And so wow. I would, I went through the 4 months of chemo. And then I did a 38 staple surgery and my whole abdomen from my sternum all the way down to my groin. And I had to, learn how to skate again with all that just, poison and, surgical disruption. And I was back on the tour the next year. It was really sort of like the only thing that I could do. And then I'd step away and just sort of be on my own for a few months and go back to the tour and then go back and be on my own just to kind of figure it out. And I didn't really know who I was, and I needed to figure that out. And I knew I had a second chance. And on the 3rd anniversary night of my diagnosis, I met a girl backstage at Stars on Ice. And I thought she was a date of a friend of mine, and it wasn't really a date. But a few months later, I take her to dinner, and we've been together ever since.
Wow.
Cancer was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. I wouldn't have my kids. I wouldn't have my wife. I wouldn't have my family. I wouldn't have my faith. I wouldn't have this understanding that we can go through the storms, and ultimately it's how we participate in them that allow us to step into a quality of life afterwards, and yeah. I don't know who I'm talking to right now. I know I'm talking to you, but I don't know, whoever's listening, we're meant to suffer. We really are. We're built to suffer. We're very fragile people as human beings. We're also extremely resilient, but ultimately we're temporary. And so when I look at this thing right here, I'm on camera. You can't see. Nobody can see it, but it's an hourglass.
Yep.
And I'm reminded that we all have, our days, and our days are sand in the hourglass. Like, those are the days of our lives. Like that soap opera, right? But what's cool is, when I get to work in cancer the way that I do, and I get to fundraise, and I get to fund, our organization is able to fund research. It's like, what does that mean to everybody? Well, it means more sand. You get more sand, and with each grain of sand, there's a potential for a memory or something that just is special, and something that you've lived all this time for. So it's all connected in some really cool way, and rarely do we get this philosophical when we talk, right? But it is, stepping into the season. It's like, I got my big event coming up. I'm under a lot of pressure to pull it off and to fill the arena, and I'm just hoping and praying that we get the sports analogy, Hail Mary, to, get us those ticket sales that we need to really reach our goals. It's hard to market as a nonprofit. And, seeing our culture right now, a lot of people are just scared. They just don't know what's happening, in our government. A lot of people in the government have been without work for, 40 something days. And they're scared, a lot of people are scared. So when they're scared, they just sort of get in their shell. They stay home. They maybe behave a little differently because they want to make sure that, it's safe to go in the waters again, So I'm just really hoping that the momentum swings our way and we're able to reach our financial goals to be able to, fund the research that we uniquely and specifically fund. I'll give you an example. It was about 5 years ago. Yeah, almost. It's coming up on 5 years. We found an immunotherapy study for the cancer that killed my mom.
Wow.
And, the needle's moved a little just because healthcare is a little better, but it's hard to survive her cancer. It really is. So cares. It was like our honor. It's the Dorothy Hamilton, research project, right? And it's at Mass General. And this was going into the 40th anniversary of my Olympic gold medal. And so as a celebration on the night, February 16th, 2024, we decided that we're going to put the band back together. And so we put a Skate to Eliminate Cancer event on in New York City under the Brooklyn Bridge at a pop-up rink they built.
Wow.
And Brian Orser flew in from Zurich, Switzerland, my silver medalist. And Joe Sabopchik flew in from Salt Lake City, and we hadn't seen each other in the same room. Like, I see Joe and I see Brian, but I don't see Joe and Brian all in the same room. We had the best time just being together and celebrating our big night, right?
Yeah.
But it was in the talking points that I was able to share to the audience to kind of give them perspective on impact. I said, well, 3 years ago, we funded an immunotherapy project for the cancer that killed my mom. And tonight I'm able to announce that it's going into clinical trial.
Wow. That's amazing.
No, you don't have many days like that. You just don't.
No kidding.
No. So as unlikely as I was to be an Olympic gold medalist, it ended up opening a lot of doors for me that allowed me to, create an identity, in this world as a professional skater and as a broadcast, all these things that, again, the medal wasn't really this shiny object that, I could wear on my neck and make me feel good. It was a doorstop, just keep the door open, keep the door open. I'm going to work really hard. And trust me, keep the door open. And it's opened a lot of doors. So, and my life's dream is to take that podium and turn into a platform where now, we can create treatment modalities. And I always say, I'm not here, for the ballyhoo and thanks to the work of the Scott Hamilton Cares Foundation. No, no, I don't care about that. All I care about is that if research gets funded, scientists get what they need to do their work, and that we're able to save lives. And so in that, one of my favorite sort of sayings, I guess, or quotes is, the greatest gifts ever given are to those that will never know its origin.
Wow.
And so this isn't about doing things for the glory or anything. It's just, I've got an opportunity to honor my mom and to honor my survivorship and to step into a situation where maybe there's some 18-year-old kid that doesn't have to bury his mom.
Wow.
So yeah, there's that, so it's been a day, it's heavy.
There's that. By the way, there's
we
that.
Can sit here and laugh, so I'm sorry to be, but it's just, it's been a season,
Yeah.
and I see a lot of people suffering that I know don't need to. My cancer now has a 95% survival rate. Do you know what it was 50 years ago?
Wasn't it less than 10? I think you told me that story.
5%.
Yeah.
So now it's 95%. If people don't know what research is, they don't need to. All they know is that it works, Like most people drive a car, they don't know how the motor works. They just know it starts and it gets them where they want to go. It's the same with research. It's the engine that drives survivorship. So, a lot of us feel like bad things only happen to other people and that we're fine. We don't need to worry about this, but what's that? It's like, so we're here to honor people and celebrate lives. And I think we've done a really good job. And
yes, you have.
Yeah. So anyway, come to Bridgestone Arena November 23rd at 4 p.m.
Indeed.
Sunday. That guy. Oh, I need that guy.
All right, so one more before I let you go. We're going to end on a high note because...
Please.
So you have a guitar collection and you went to rock and roll fantasy camp.
Yeah.
So you got these classic rock guys coming for all this, but you've been there. You got to tell me the story. Tell me the story about the guitar collection and what it was like at rock and roll fantasy camp.
Well, my first guitars, I went to a friend of mine's 50th birthday party, and he was a cancer survivor, and he wanted to do his 50th birthday party as a celebration, of his survivorship. So this whole party was to benefit the cancer center that saved his life. Something I know a little bit about with the Cleveland Clinic. So there were these two guitars that I thought they'd look cool in my house. They're really cool. One of them was ZZ Top, and the other one was Styx, and they both were really cool looking. So I go, I'm going to bid on, see if I can get one of them. And every time I bid, somebody outbid me, and it was like, come on. So I said, now I'm competitive. I'm going to win this bid. So I looked, and there was this 15-year-old kid bidding on these guitars. And it was like, his mom finally caught him and said, what are you doing? And he goes, I like these guitars. I'm going to bid on them. And she goes, no, Steve can get you the same guitars without having to, I'm sure somebody else really wants these things. And I'm like, yes. So I got both guitars. And then it was like, I want more. And so I started collecting at different, fundraisers. They'd have a guitar that was signed. And I got an Eagles signed guitar that Glenn Fry is on. It's got Glenn Fry, Don Henley, Timothy B. Schmidt, Joe Walsh. I've got a Bruce Springsteen guitar. I've got an Aerosmith guitar. I've got a Kiss guitar. I've got, oh my goodness, there's so many. Chicago, REO Speedwagon, Hootie and the Blowfish, Neil Diamond. There's a bunch. I mean, I gave a couple away as presents because we're downsizing and we just can't be hanging these guitars all over the place because my wife will not have it. And so I donated a couple of them. Last year, I donated my Sheryl Crow guitar because she was my host the first 4 years of my event. She would host it with me. So I donated my Sheryl Crow guitar and my Keith Urban guitar last year. And they were both really cool guitars, and they raised a lot of money for CARES. So this year, oh, and I got a Steve Cropper guitar. That's one of my favorites. You know,
Wow, all right.
And I've got an Alice Cooper guitar, a Cheap Trick guitar. Cheap Trick signed it to me. They personalized it, which made me feel really happy. And
no doubt.
I want more of those. So, yeah, so we're just, now I'm seeing that they're just going to collect dust. So I'm going to keep a few, and then I'm going to start donating the rest to CARES so they can raise money and other people can enjoy these guitars that I've enjoyed for all these years. But yeah, it was a pretty big collection for a while. It was pretty impressive. Like there wasn't a lot of, I had Def Leppard. I gave that one away. I gave that one to Shannon Bream from Fox News.
Oh, is that right?
Her husband's in my Bible study, and we've gotten to know each other. She's a really sweet lady, and we were having a big dinner one night, and she goes, I just love, people know this, but my favorite band is Def Leppard. And I was like, note to self. And so I gave her a Def Leppard guitar, and she was like, and so it makes people happy. It's like, that's great. Cause after a while, you just, I'm at an age now where it's like, I don't really need more stuff. I really don't want more stuff. Like, where am I going to put, thank you for that gift. Where am I going to put it? I have no place to put it. So, but yeah, so for a minute it was, I also collected a few pinball machines, which was really fun. And I'm down to 2. And, but I was a big video gamer in the 80s. And then I realized that once I could memorize a pattern in Pac-Man that got me to the 5th key, I was like, give me something that's unpredictable. Pinball. Okay. That's fun. And I thought the pinball industry was dead, but it's alive and well, and new machines are coming out all the time. And they're there's a very dedicated community in there. And so that's been fun to participate in. And now I'm just trying to build next. And I'm going to get more involved in skating. That's my big announcement on your show. I'm just going to get more involved.
There you go. And if, you've got a Journey guitar laying around, I'm a big Journey fan, just saying.
I don't. But
you might know a guy.
I know a guy. And, it was funny that Jonathan Kane used to live in Nashville. So I invited him to the CARES show one year. And he said yes. And I was like, great. And he said, there's this new guy in our band named Jason Drlatka. And he's a genius, like Mozart, but he also sings really well. He sings kind of like Perry. Maybe I'll bring him. I said, okay, great, whatever you like. It's your show. I mean, we're just having those songs, and it would be amazing. I was a big Journey fan before Perry, like when they were progressive jam band. Yeah, I saw him in 1976.
Wow,
Greg Raleigh was their lead
Sean
singer.
And Ansley Dunbar and all those guys?
All those guys, yeah.
Yeah.
And here's a crazy one. Trivia. Do you remember who their rhythm guitar player was? One of their rhythm guitar players was on their first album?
I don't.
George Tickner.
George Tickner, that's right.
Brother of Olympic bronze medalist in figure skating, Charlie Tickner.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
that's
you go.
An interesting
There's
trivia bit. Yeah.
So anyway, I'm gonna get a Journey guitar. That's gonna be the one. That'll be my Springsteen guitar is like, that's way up there.
Oh, of course.
But I'm going to work on a Journey guitar. And I'm going to, another thing is, Boston is another one. I got to get, I got to get Tom Schultz to sign a Boston guitar.
Guy's a genius.
Yeah, we're going to do that for this. Here's what I'm going to do. If you go on ClickBid and look for CARES, there's going to be a Boston guitar in there. I'm going to get one for the auction. And there's going to be an REO Speedwagon guitar, and there's going to be a Loverboy guitar, and we're going to make this thing great, and we're going to raise a lot of money. So people just, hey, sign up, buy some cool things and help us, change the trajectory of cancer. Already more people are surviving than ever, but more people are being diagnosed than ever.
Yeah.
And that's a concern,
Yeah, it's hit my family too, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law both. So
I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah, it's a tough battle. Just being on the other side of it, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Second chance. Let's make it count.
Scott, before I let you go, remind our listeners one more time about your foundation and how they can stay up to date with the great things you're out there doing by following you on social media.
Yay! ScottCares.org is the foundation. We're on social media, Team Scott Cares. My personal is Scott Hamilton 84 everywhere. We're trying to make that, I'm an old guy, just trying to be relevant in a new world, things like that. But yeah, ScottCares.org. We really are, we're a very collaborative organization. We don't believe in silos. So we partner with, almost, I'd say probably 80% of our research projects have been partnerships. So we really believe that, we're here to be a member of the community, not, be the community. We're a member of the community. And so, so if people want to, get behind us, scottcares.org. And then, just click around a little bit. You'll see we do Skate to Eliminate Cancer events all over the country. We just did one at Charles Schultz's rink in Santa Rosa. And that event started 4 years ago, and we've already raised $500,000 there.
Wow.
So it's extraordinary, that, again, it's just people gathering and allowing survivors and caregivers to come to a place where they can celebrate everything about the cancer. Not only, the hope for survivorship, but a better future for people facing this insidious disease.
Yes. Scott, I am so appreciative of your time and your willingness to come back and be a part of the show. God gave you a double dip special.
Are you kidding? You're one of the good guys. You're one of the great guys. The great guys. And we got to play golf.
Yes, we do.
I'm starting to figure it out a little bit. I know every time somebody says that, it goes, no, I thought I had it, but it's gone now.
Yes, we all do that all the time. I figured out the secret until the next time.
It was that thing. That thing at the top of the swing, that thing.
Of course it was.
Yeah. But
best,
we'll get out. Definitely.
The world is a better place because of you. Take care. Happy Thanksgiving and happy holidays to you and your family. Hopefully we do this again soon.
Thank you,
See you, Scott.
God bless. Thanks.
That's the great Scott Hamilton, folks. Please support his foundation. Again, scottcares.org. I'm a monthly contributor. I hope you'll join me in that. He is just a wonderful individual, works extremely hard. He's achieved a lot. He's given back to his sport. He's given back to life through his fight against cancer. And he's also given back to so many people, including me in this show, plus to millions that he's not even aware of through his mentorship, his inspiration, the positivity in his voice and in his story that just kind of oozes out through his aura. His smile does wonders just all by itself. I'm so appreciative of his efforts and his time to come back and be a part of the show. Like I say, hopefully we get this privilege of catching up with him again before too long. Coming up next is a guy who is a technology genius and who happens to be in the Manitoba Golf Hall of Fame, and that is Terry Hashimoto. Before I bring Terry into the show, I want to remind you about our friends over at On Point Golf and their out-of-this-world On Point Golf Ball Marker. And if you don't have one, folks, you really need to go check it out at onpointgolf.us. Get the #1 ball marker in the game of golf. On Point is the only three-dimensional ball marker out there, with alignment technology and a removable coin that is approved to use according to the rules of golf. As you know, putting is all about line and pace. Mark your ball with On Point, engage with your three-dimensional ball marker, and have more confidence in your line, execute the putt, and you're going to lower your scores. Do what the likes of Jim Furyk, PGA professionals, and amateurs alike are doing now. They use the #1 ball marker in golf and they lower their scores. You know Ken Duke and Thongchai JD. They won for the first time on the PGA Tour in 2023, and they were using an on-point ball marker. Get yours at onpointgolf.us and make more putts. And oh, by the way, you can also customize the removable coin for any club, event, or corporate outing. They make really great tee gifts and custom products. That's also going to help lower your score. I use on-point ball markers. Mine is black and gold, 3D black golf ball with a gold line down the middle to help me line up my putts. It's like having a 15th club in my bag. It's helped my game. Why wouldn't you let it help yours? Again, onpointgolf.us. See what I'm talking about. Order yours today. I also want to remind you about our wonderful friends over at Squares Golf.
So Nick here. What if there was a golf shoe embraced by hundreds of thousands of golfers, celebrated for its stability, comfort and distance? What if this shoe earned the title of most technologically advanced golf shoe by Sports Illustrated? And what if the company behind that shoe spent the last year perfecting a brand new category of golf footwear? Well, the what if is here. Introducing the all-new Pro S2 LT by Squares, a new class all of its own, the perfect blend of lightweight comfort and stable performance. You'll notice the difference. Change your shoes, change your game. Squares.
And our friends over at Sunday Swagger have their holiday drop set staged for Sunday Swagger's biggest Black Friday Cyber Monday sale ever, which is going to be running from November 21st through December the 2nd. Highlights include up to 60% off site-wide. Hats from $19, polos and t-shirts from $29, shorts, button-ups, and outerwear from $39. Get your chance to win one of 50 exclusive Sunday Swagger baseball jerseys. Every dollar spent equals one entry. Early access for Sunday Club members starts on November 21st at 9 a.m. and an extra 5% back. Free standard shipping on orders over $100. Product re-releases of fan favorites throughout the sale period, including Paradise, Drip, Marvel, Rave, and Shots. Look, folks, these things are unbelievable. Their shirts are so comfortable, and their patterns bold and ones that you're going to be excited to wear and show everybody. Look, bundles include his, hers, fathers and sons, family matching sets. It's fantastic. Go out and check it out for yourself at sundayswagger.com. All right, now back and next on the tee with me is Terry Hashimoto. Terry is the co-developer and founder of Swing Balance and Body Track Golf. He is also the founder of AI Sensor and ProScreen AI 3D Modern Physical Screening. For those of you who are not familiar with Terry's background, now he's from Winnipeg, Manitoba. He was named Manitoba Amateur Golfer of the Year 3 times and was a finalist 5 more times between 1976 and 1998. At the age of 17, Terry placed 7th in the Junior Orange Bowl tournament in 1975. In 98, he won Manitoba's provincial amateur, mid-amateur, and match play titles. He was named Golfer of the Year in 1976, 1980, and 1998. In the years that he didn't win, he was still a finalist every year from 78 to 1985. He was also a nominee for the Manitoba Athlete of the Year in 1998 in recognition of winning all 3 amateur major titles. Played his college golf at the University of Miami and won 7 college tournaments. He was low amateur in the Pan Am Open. He became a PGA professional in 1986 and was a club pro at Bell Acres Golf and Country Club. He played on the Canadian Tour from 1986 to 1988, finishing 8th in the Canadian PGA Championship in 86 and finishing 17th on the Order of Merit in 88. Terry was inducted into the Manitoba Golf Hall of Fame back in September of 2010. He also works with our good friends over at Squares Golf. He is one of the most sought-after people in the golf industry, and I could be more honored I get to have him back with me again this week here on Next on the Tee. Hey, Terry, thanks for coming back on the show.
Tough act to follow. Oh, my God, what a great story, Scott Hamilton.
Oh, no kidding. It is a tough follow. As he was telling some things, and then towards the end, I'm like, how is Terry going to follow this?
I cannot. Let's just get that out there right now. I've had the privilege of meeting him at a couple golf events, and I do not know where that man gets his energy from, but I want to bottle it and sell it because it's amazing. And his sincerity is second to none. That man is just unreal. At first, I thought, he was going to start talking about reverse mortgages, and then I was being facetious in my mind. I mean, he's just unbelievable talent, unbelievable individual. And Scotty, if you hear this, just amazing to hear your story. But I also love the story about the athletics, how people go through all the various stages in their life and what he did to his gold medal. That's Muhammad Ali stuff.
Yeah, agreed. That's a great analogy or a great comparison. I wouldn't put that together, but you're spot on with that, Terry. Yeah,
I mean, putting your gold medal in your drawer of underwear for 8 years and bringing it out really adds humility to the story. I mean, I can't share quite the same story, but when we were building golf clubs at Jazz Golf, I had the privilege of working in Saskatchewan on a joint venture with the Saskatchewan government. We had 250 handicapped employees, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, trauma. And I'm looking at the picture right now. It's one of the few pictures I keep in my house when I left there. It was probably one of the highlights of my career to be able to work with such amazing people, be able to provide an opportunity for them to go somewhere and feel like they were contributing, which they were. And Scott Hamilton, one of the greatest stories I've ever heard in my life, or had the privilege of hearing in my life. So thank you.
Absolutely. So, Terry, you're doing so much with technology. I mean, you're an absolute genius in the golf world with technology. Help us understand more about our physiology, balance, weight distribution. Give us an update on the great things you're out there doing right now in the AI space.
Well, I appreciate that, Chris, and thank you for the opportunity. The premise behind everything that I'm doing now is that it's difficult to make teaching decisions in golf, I believe, and more people feel the same way, if you don't understand the athlete or the client's physiology. For example, if you've got a lead knee or hip issue, are you going to train and teach that golfer the same way if another student or client has the opposite issue, which could be on the trail side? And the answer obviously is no. But the hard part is in the ability to quickly assess the athlete with what their physical dysfunctions are. And thanks to new technology, we can do that. It's called ProScreenAI3D.com. And that technology was developed by a company in Alberta called KinetiSense. But that's just part of the equation. From my perspective, as some people will remember, I was the face of BodyTrack for nearly 14 years. I left it during COVID to develop AI for shaft fitting based on load-unload profiles. And I sold that company and did very well with it, and basically was going to just leave the industry. But about a year ago, the people that built the pressure mats for BodyTrack went out of business, and I began to get a lot of messages with a lot of really unhappy people because all the software companies were no longer supporting BodyTrack. So after a little bit of discussion with the original developer of BodyTrack software, Grant Dirksen, we decided to go out there and create software that would add new life to old BodyTrack sensors. And it turned out to be probably the most complicated, complex problems development I've ever been a part of, because we had to go back almost 6 generations of BodyTrack, starting from the most recent ones that were built in 2024, going back to as far back as now we can go back to 2012. And so that takes it back 12 years. And we're starting to get some incredible positive feedback. For me, this is a bit of a legacy thing, Chris, where, I didn't want to have my name associated with, people who invested in pressure mapping and weren't able to use it. So we felt the only way to do it was to come back and develop the technology to do that, to allow the clients to use the pressure mats in a very functional way. And we succeeded, I'm pleased to say.
Terry, you also incorporate LiDAR technology for folks that aren't familiar with LiDAR. Talk about what that is and what it helps us to understand.
Okay, great, Chris. So the LiDAR technology that we use with the KinetiSense software and ProScreen AI 3D, I'm a strong believer in that. You've got 5 different athletes and they all have different dysfunctional regions in their body. It's not possible that they can all benefit from the same type of training. And what you're seeing more and more now, in particular at the elite level, you want to be able to identify the athlete's areas of dysfunction. And it's triplanar, which means that we're going to measure, we can measure your areas of functionality, physiology on all 3 planes. Frontal, which is side to side, sagittal, which is front and back, toe to heel, and transverse, which is rotational. And this turns out to be a perfect tool for golfers. So now, using a LiDAR technology and putting you through a series of merely 8 tests, we can come back in less than 10 minutes and give you a succinct profile of that client's body. And great teachers, more and more, this is not just Terry Hashimoto telling people to use this product. Great teachers understand their athlete's body, period. Scotty Hamilton, I'm sure he's seeing this in his sport where if there's any areas of concern, you need to train differently. Each figure skater would probably have their own way of training based on their physiology. And you're seeing this not only at the Olympic levels, you're starting to see it at the high level amateurs. But to tell you the truth, Chris, this is really significant, in particular for the novice athletes, because golf is a very difficult array of complex series of movements, and if you're doing something that your teacher's telling you to do, but it's not based on your physiology, you can hurt yourself. So LiDAR technology allows us to go in there and complete a series of short 8 tests and be able to completely provide you a physical assessment.
Terry, I saw a video where you were talking about how you can supply normative values based on our age, height, gender, weight, and you have proper recovery protocols based on mobility and stability for all 11 joints from our head down to our ankles, which is obviously very important to me right now, coming off double ankle replacement surgery on one ankle over the last 11 months. So help us understand what our instructors can see, what you can help us see and understand based on our physiology and what all that other stuff means.
100%, Chris. So TPI basically many years ago started, basically connecting the dots between physical therapists, occupational therapists, and golf professionals, and chiropractors too. And so the theory is terrific. So work with an occupational therapist, physical therapist, chiropractor, as a coach, to golf instructor, to understand what that athlete's needs are. But it's complicated because, how do you build that relationship with any of those three? And how do any of those three build the relationship with the golf pro? Excuse me, it can be a bit of a challenge. But with the ProScreen AI 3D and the KinetiSense technology, because it was developed by medical practitioners, occupational therapists, and chiropractors, based on all the assessments, you can merely hit a button, beginner, intermediate, or expert level, and populate the proper recovery protocols based on expert medical practitioners' experiences. Now, going back to the normative values of age, height, gender, and weight, there's over 10,000 people using this software worldwide for the last 11 years, and they've been collecting data, and it's machine learning. So all this data, every time a test is performed, and there's 17 different possible tests for physical assessments, but we only use 8 of them for what we call the CAMS test, which makes it faster and is just as succinct. But if you have all these tests performed over that lengthened period of time based on age, height, gender, and weight, then you can begin to develop normative values. And, what's the baseline for someone of this age, height, gender, and weight? And then based on those normative values, automatically populates the what you should do with the recovery protocols. It's quite unbelievable. And it's being used by more and more medical practitioners all over the world. And this will just keep on growing and growing and growing to the point where you'll be able to do this with your iPhone. And we're close to that now, actually. And or any portable device that uses LiDAR technology, because LiDAR is what mapped the Earth topographically and also on an ocean level as well. It's amazing technology. And again, and because you do not actually have to have a relationship with a medical practitioner to be able to provide safe recovery protocols for each particular joint, as you mentioned, from occipito, which is the head, all the way down to the ankles. It's remarkable. And it's something that everybody should do at all levels of sports, and in particular for golf, because you've had a double ankle surgery on your lead or trail side?
Trail side, on my trail side.
All right. So obviously you don't want to put a lot of pressure on that side of your body, which in your case is a good thing, because the number one way to gain distance and low point ball control is to get pressure to the lead side early and have the strength and stability to keep it there. So, you going from that type of surgery, I mean, it just makes sense, to recover. Yes, you got to do the proper recovery protocols for your trail side ankle, but you also probably want to work on becoming more asymmetrical, meaning that you can be stronger on one side of your body so that you can support your trail side.
Yeah, take that a step further with me, Terry. So as I go through PT and start to develop and kind of get back to strength in my lower right leg, right? It's been in a cast for 3 of the last 9 months. So obviously I got a lot of atrophy. So I got a lot of things that I need to build up strength there. But tell me about the protocols for, and I want to be selfish for a second. Is there a way for me, and I don't expect you to know this right off the top of your head, but is there a way for me to get a protocol for what I need to do in order to gain back some strength and stability in my right ankle based on all of this normative data for someone my age, my height, my gender, and my weight?
100%. Yeah. So with the ProScreen AI 3D powered by Kinetic Sense software, those recovery protocols for your ankle and for your knee and for your trail side hip, they're all provided 100%.
Wow.
And then so there's two kind of things going on at the same time. One is you got to recover on your trail side, but number two is also now we want to adjust the way we approach swinging the ball and how we move our pressure and how we keep our pressure on our lead side. So we're going to have to strengthen up our pressure on our lead side by doing some lead leg squats. You know how to do those. You can do them standing with one hand on a wall and basically just bending your lead knee up and down, going down as far as you can, back and forth. That's just a simple exercise that I've seen done and performed by hundreds of medical practitioners. The other one you can do, you take a bar and acceleration, deceleration drill with a flex bar where you basically stay on your lead side, accelerate even harder on your downswing and stop, snap the bar. There's lots of ways to increase the strength on your lead side. But the reality is that no matter what you do, and you will recover because you're the type of guy that is determined to recover, you're always going to need to favor your lead side because the stability will be improved, and you're always going to be a little bit afraid mentally to put a lot of pressure on your trail heel.
So for people out there of all ages, right? I mean, you could have an athlete that's had joint injuries through the course of his or her career. You could have older folks dealing with arthritis and gout and all of those sorts of things. It sounds like for all of us that could be in any one of these silos of characteristics, that there's something for us that's going to help us get on the road to recovery.
100%. I mean, well, first of all, we're all suffering from something. We just don't know it. And so the screening process, in my opinion, is the future of, it's not just sports though, Chris. It's really something that everybody should do. Like, I mean, office workers, people that spend, 6-7 hours a day sitting at a desk. There's always ways to improve, what you do at your job, how it affects your daily life. My best friend over the years, working in collaboration to understand pressure mapping, was Jake Thurm. And I used to go see him in Chicago once in a while he worked a schedule of lessons. And I could see by the end of the day, his posture kept getting worse and worse. And, I finally said to him, I said, Jake, we need to work on some of the issues that you've got with your back. And basically he looked at me like, what are you talking about, Hash? I said, well, I can see your posture getting worse and worse as your lessons get longer and longer. And he at the end of the day, this was before physical screening. He agreed with that, and we worked on it together.
So everybody that's listening right now that's got something, to your point, everybody has a something. They got to be dying.
Well, listen, okay, so put it another way, or maybe that wasn't the best story, but every golf session, in my opinion, should start with the physical screen. If a teacher doesn't know of your physical attributes, he's just going to he or she's just going to basically teach you in the same way they teach everybody else. And is that effective? I don't think so.
No. So, like I say, everybody who's listening right now, thinking to themselves, because again, back to your point, everybody has a something, right? It's a knee, it's a shoulder, it's an ankle, it's a hip, whatever it is. They got to be dying to try to figure out, how do I get involved here? How can I find out all this information?
Well, the coolest thing is that anybody who's got a pressure mat of any type, it can be a swing catalyst, it can be an S2M, it can be a body track, it doesn't matter. Excuse me, I can see your physical restrictions on that pressure mat, but I can even identify which side of your body it's on. But to go a step deeper, that's where a physical screen with a system like ProScreen AI 3D powered by KinetiSense really has an impact, because once we do that screen, then we can identify that physical restrictions on which side of the body it is, and then we can adjust your training programs, your recovery protocols, and also the way we teach. And Chris, that is 100% the future for all sports, but golf is definitely going to be pioneering the way on this, because golf is a lead side sport. And if you've got injuries on, it's an asymmetrical lead side game. You've got to be strong on your lead side. Otherwise, it's hard to hit off your back foot.
Right.
But you can do it, but the teaching has to be succinct, because you lose low point ball control hitting off the back foot. And that means you can hit the ball chubby, thin, every which way. But,
and not very far.
And not very well. No, I mean, absolutely not very far. So it's physical screening with LiDAR technology, and it doesn't have to be our app. It can be anybody's technology that was developed by medical practitioners, and using in conjunction with pressure mapping is the future. Now, let me just say this, Chris. So there's a lot of people doing what they call 3D now, 3D analysis. Well, 3D analysis is only as good. It's almost, even though it's subjective data, it's subjective to the context that it's only relative to you. How can you compare my shoulder turn or my hip turn at 67 to some guy who's 35 and or a touring pro? It's not possible. So without understanding your physiology, anything to do with 3D, while very cool and can be extremely useful, is very limiting without the knowledge of the physical screen. It's that simple.
So how can we get screened? Where do we need to go? How do we need to do it?
Well, more and more people are doing it these days, but if you're a golf coach or a teacher or a sports director of any type, contact me at AIsensor.live website. The pro screen information is there in the menu, and AIsensor.live website. And I'll reach back to you, and we'll get you a demo software to try with your iPad that has LiDAR on it, your iPad Pro. And we'll do our best. We have got more and more instructors all over the United States using it. I'm thinking of Tom Stickney down in Florida.
Great friend of the show.
Kermich. You know Tom Stickney.
Yes.
Very good fella. There's so many. Having Mike Camastro in Chicago. Mike Mondakis, also in Chicago, Doug Miller in Hamilton. I mean, Stuart Bannatyne in Burlington, Oakville, Ontario. Just a few names off the top of my head, but more and more golf instructors worldwide are beginning to do this. It's the wave of the future, and I think it's something that's very significant and important to us as golfers and just athletes in general.
Terry, a couple more before I let you go, and I want to switch gears just slightly. One of the things that you and I talked about the last time you were on the show, but I think it bears repeating. I've heard you say about golf rehab and the ability to recover from concussions. One of the best things to do is to walk uneven surfaces, and what's better for doing that than being out on a golf course? Talk about how golf can help people recover from a concussion.
Golf is definitely a recovery sport. Any vestibular issue, which just basically means balance. I remember telling Nick Valdo, who was telling me about his nephew that was having issues with concussions, because we can measure your balance with the pressure mats. And I said to him, look, the best way to recover from a concussion is walking on a perturbed surface or any, and I said the last time I checked, that's called a golf course. And because golf, there's no such thing as a perfectly flat golf course. And walking slow on an uneven surface is an incredible way to recover from any balance issues. And it's incredibly effective for concussions. And we've done lots of testing on this. I wouldn't call what we do pure research, but there's thousands of papers that talk about how to recover from walking on uneven surfaces. And the last time I checked, like I said, Chris, that's called a golf course. And I personally suffered recently total hearing loss in my right ear. And my balance was a mess. I was mentally a mess. And it took a long time, and I still haven't completely recovered, but I use my golf hitting. I don't play golf much anymore, but I hit balls a lot. And just hitting balls and golf in general is a great way to recover from any concussion, period.
Terry, like I mentioned in your intro, you were inducted into the Manitoba Golf Hall of Fame back in 2010. Had to be a huge honor for you. What was it like for you being recognized like that in your home province?
It was cool. My son was there. My mom was there. But recently, some people are nominating me into the Canadian Golf Hall of Fame. I don't know if I'll be inducted, but as a builder, as not just a player. My accomplishments in golf were pretty cool, but I think from my perspective, Chris, I was the first Canadian to get a golf scholarship at the University of Miami. I went on a full ride, and Chris, back in those days, not many Canadians were going to the States, and I shared that information with a lot of everybody that I could, because I wanted them to see the path to the tour. Everybody would always tell us as Canadians that we have no chance of making the PGA Tour, but I never thought that way. I never thought that anybody was better than me. In fact, in my day at the university level, I was a decent player. But when I graduated in 1981, the top money winner was Tom Kite. He won about $350,000 that year. And my dad said to me, "Are you sure want to do this? Because I think you can make that much money in business." And he was right. But to answer your question specifically, it was an honor. But I don't hang my hat on anything I did in golf. When we built Jazz Golf, we had 125 employees. We were selling $12-13 million at wholesale a year. That's a lot of golf clubs, and we put a lot of people on the golf course. And I still run into people every week that has got a Jazz club in their bag, whether it's a fairway wood or a putter or whatever it might be. And I just know we put a ton of people on the golf course. That gives me a lot of satisfaction, because A, golf as a recovery sport, I use it now. B, golf is probably one of the most fun. It's the only thing you can do with your family as you get older. I can't imagine going out jogging with my son when I'm 80, but I can still tee it up. And maybe.
I'm sure you will be.
Yeah. But, golf is, you asked a really good question, and I want to give you a really good ending. Golf rehab was a project I still really love, because to me, golf is a recovery sport. When you get older, I mean, there's various phases. You go through if you take the route I chose, which was competitive, then it becomes a lifestyle, then it becomes a business. And then as you get older, your bodies change and the physiology gets messed up, and it's not a perfect world. And you may have something happen to you that on a balance basis, a vestibular basis, it can be even a physical issue like you have on your trail foot, your trail ankle. But golf is a great way to recover, because it's a complex series of motions, and it requires, you've got to your mind has to work well to play well. So it's just a great overall game to recover from anything.
Terry, before I let you go, remind our listeners how they can stay up to date with all the great things that you're out there doing, whether it's online or on social media.
AIcensored.live. It's on Instagram. You can reach out there. AIcensored.live is also the website. AIcensored.live has got all the links to everything that I'm doing, and it's got some cool information there about pressure mapping. And there's even a free link in the members only section to my 5-course AI sensor, the practical applications of pressure mapping. Thousands of people have taken it, and it's absolutely free until the end of the PGA Show 2026. So feel free to jump on AIcensored.live, go to the members only, and you can see where it says click on, and take a look at the other products as well.
Terry, you're fantastic, my friend. I can't thank you enough for being patient and the time you spent tonight, being generous with your time. You're, like I said earlier, you're just a genius with this stuff and the impact that you're having on so many of us that are getting into the game and being able to stay around because of the things that you do. So thank you so much on behalf of all of us who need it.
Thank you, Chris. I really sincerely mean it. Appreciate it.
Take care, Terry. All the best to you and your family. Look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you. That is the great Terry Hashimoto, folks. It doesn't get better than that guy in the world of golf technology and just health technology. AIcensored.live. Look, some of this stuff is just absolutely amazing. The normative values and the things that they can do for recovery protocols based on all of their years of data, based on our age, height, gender, weight, all of those things for all of the different joints from the head down to our ankles. And as you know, right, we talked about it, and we've been talking about it for a while with everything going on with my right ankle. Hopefully this is some things that I can really learn from, get more information about, get more data about, and understand what I'm going to need to do in order to build up myself, obviously in PT, but to build up my trail side and my lead side to be able to get back into the game and to play good, hit good shots, and all of those sorts of things. So I'm really excited about what Terry has to do. I'm excited to get out there on AIcensor.live, look around to some of the tests and some of the information that's on there, and then learn more and more about the things that are going to make me right again in the game. Want to play well, want to enjoy it, but I think there's some data here that I can uncover that can make all of us better. So go check it out. At Terry Hashimoto is where you can find him as well on Instagram and Twitter. So he's out there on social media just under his own stuff, plus obviously the new AI Live. Terry's fantastic. We'll catch up with him hopefully before the PGA Merchandise Show, and then even more hopefully live when I'm there in late January. All right, my friends, it is time for me to put a bow on this episode of Next on the Tee. My sincere thanks again to Tom Patry, John Budenhagen, Terry Hashimoto, and Scott Hamilton for joining me this week. Scheduled to join me next time are our good friend Brian Jacobs will be back on the show just in time for Steelers-Bills. He's a Bills guy, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Dr. Bob Winters will be back with us to kick off the month of December, just like he is at the beginning of each and every month. Always insightful when Doc's a part of the show. And then for the first time, making his Next on the Tee debut is Connor Lewis from the Society of Golf Historians, and shame on me for not getting Connor on this show sooner. A guy who has done a lot of work and a lot of great work for those of us who love the history of the game and just the game in general. Really excited to have Connor as part of the show. So tune in next time, folks. I know you're really going to enjoy it. I also want to thank our friends again over at the Pittsburgh Tribune-Review for hosting this show on their site. For coverage of everything going on in Western Pennsylvania, including your favorite sports, go to triblive.com. You can find this show by then clicking on the Sports section tab, and the most recent episode is going to be front and center for you right there on the homepage of the Sports section. Or you can click on Sports and then Podcast Network. You're going to see the Next on the Tee logo. If you click on that, many of the most recent episodes from this season are there for you as well. As you guys know, you can find this show pretty much anywhere you get your podcast content, particularly out on Good Pods, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, golfnewsnet.com. Again, anywhere you get your podcast content, you're going to find Next on the Tee on there. Just click the search bar, type in Next on the Tee. You'll probably find us there as well. But folks, as always, my biggest thanks go out to each and every one of you for being the greatest supporters in the history of podcasts, barring none. I appreciate each and every one of you so very much. Until next time, hit 'em straight, my friends.
Thanks for joining Chris again this week on Next on the Tee. We hope you enjoyed the conversations as much as we did. Please share the show with your golf buddies and be sure to follow it on TribLive or your favorite podcast app so you never miss an episode. Thanks for pressing play and being part of the journey. We'll see you next week, right here, where the best minds in golf share their stories.